Stop believing. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the month of May. Oh my God. You want to hear something cool? Today is actually Cinco de Mayo on Taco Tuesday. I know, right? Didn't see that coming, but you know what? Today is going to be a fantastic day. And looking forward to talking to you about our sessions that are coming up for the month of May. Now, typically we do a coffee with closers on the first Tuesday of every month. However, given that our CEO is currently traveling back from his vacation, we just kind of switch things around a little bit. And today we're going to be hosting our session with Square. Going to introduce our special guest in just a little bit. But let's talk about what else is coming up on tap. Coming up next week on May 12th, we're doing a Toolbox Tuesday with Corona POS. Now, when we did the POS roundup a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about retail POS solutions, and we noticed that the biggest question that kept popping up into the chat is Corona. Well, we've never heard of this before. A retail solution? Yeah, it's actually fantastic, and we're looking forward to presenting that to you next week on the 12th. The following week, hey, Justin Vollrath is going to be back in the studio again, and we're going to do a coffee with closer session with him, and then we're going to wrap up the month of May on the 26th with Union VOS. Yes, that's right. I said VOS, which stands for Venue Operating System. Our friends from Union coming back into the studio. They're going to talk about their new AI reporting. They're going to talk about their new status loyalty, and they're going to give you a peek behind the curtain with their newest offering called the Union Pocket. All right. So if you don't see those invites on your calendar, my gosh, don't sit there and panic. Reach out. sales@paycompass.com, and we'll be more than happy to get those invites onto your calendar. So I'm super excited for today's session. So today we're going to be talking to my new BFF over at Square, but I do want to make sure that I put a couple of things out there to you. All right, so today we're going to dive into who should you be targeting. We're going to talk about the submission process. We're going to help you to set expectations with Square. Now, everybody, this is the one piece that I want you to gravitate towards, okay? When it comes to the Q&A, okay? When it comes to the Q&A in the middle of our session and towards the end of our session, if you have questions regarding pricing, if you have questions regarding splits, we ask that you take those questions directly to your RSD. Your RSD is fully informed on all things Square. What we don't want to do is we don't want to put pricing and splits out on a call that's pretty much being recorded going on our YouTube channel. So questions with pricing and splits, please reach out to your RSD after this call. Okay, let's get this kicked off because man, oh man, I got a whole bunch of people I need to introduce right now. First and foremost, representing Team Tempe, she is our Director of Sales Operations. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeannie Golden Chapel. Jeannie. Jeannie?
It helps if I unmute.
There we go. There we go. Now,
Good morning,
you see,
folks.
I promised you, I said by the third webinar, I will get your last name right. Did you see what I did there? Not
I
bad.
did.
I know. I did it. Knocked it out of the park. And I also got my co-host. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now, you are not going to recognize this man anymore. You're not. Okay? For the longest time, we always called him the Clover Whisperer, and now he is the Sultan of Square. Ladies and gentlemen, John Marshall. Hey, John, where are you?
It's hit to be square, Scott.
You see, I told you, he is completely transformed. Do you remember all those years we used to call him the Clover Whisperer, and now he's the Sultan of Square? My God, John, you've changed teams, man. You're a believer now.
There's a lot to get excited about, and we're excited to share it with you all.
A quick question. Did you have to turn in your softball uniform for the other team at all, or did they let you hang on to it?
I did. I was kicked into the dugouts.
Were you? Okay. All right. And representing Team Square, we've got our new BFF, and I swear to God, folks, she's going to drop some good knowledge on you. We've got our friend Mai Tran. Mai Tran, where are you, my friend?
Hello, BFF. Nice to see you.
Ah, there we go. Can I just tell you, I was panicking just a little bit going, I'm looking at the participants and I'm like, I'm not sure if I see her name, but God bless you are here. Woo! We are going to pull this one off, friends. That is fantastic. To you, the sales agent, as always, every time we do Toolbox Tuesday, if you want to launch an AI note taker, go ahead and go for it. We understand that some folks don't want to go back and watch a recording. They prefer to have a transcript right in front of them, and that's okay. So if you got an AI note taker, go ahead and get it launched, but just know that we are recording this and we're going to get it posted on our YouTube channel probably within about 24 hours. As always, we do break for questions. So just know that halfway through our session, you can come off mute. You can put your questions in the chat. We're going to be actively monitoring the chat throughout today's session, and we're going to do a Q&A right at the very end. So let's get it kicked off, friends, because I think we've teased this enough. Maitreyan, I am so grateful that you made the time to join us here. We reached out to you last week and said, hey, we're getting a lot of inquiries. We're getting a lot of questions from our agents. Would you please come in and drop some knowledge on these folks? One of the cool things that you shared with me last week, and it's something I didn't really think about. You had told us last week, Square is not so much a payments company as much as Square is a technology company. What did you mean by that? Share that with our audience.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think majority of us on this call has been in the payment space for quite some time, and we're used to a certain culture or process and how things are done. And I'll tell you, I've been here a little over a year, and when we first started dropping the words interchange, everyone's eyes are like, what is that? What is an ISO? What is a reseller? The whole model of distribution channel is very new to this world as well. And when you look at the staff that Square has, I mean, I think we have like a little over 6,000 or so employees. Majority of those people are product and engineers. They're not payments people. They don't understand, ultimately they built this ecosystem and technology platform, and payments just so happens to be attached to that.
Yeah. One thing that I got super excited about as far as the relationship goes is initially there was a perception that, if our agents were to sign up a merchant, well, gosh, where does the support go to? So to everybody on this call, one thing that means a lot to me, and it should mean a lot to you, that entire team in Tempe, our support team, guess what? When it comes to Square, they're going to be the ones that are going to be servicing the accounts. Now, a little bit later on in this call, we're going to talk about the best steps with all of those submissions, and that's where I'm going to bring my pal Jeannie in, and we're going to drop some knowledge on you in regards to how you should be submitting, what are some of the key things that you should be keeping in mind. So stay tuned for that. Maitreyan, let's kick it back over to you again. So, I mean, for the most part, perception, once again, I got to talk about that word perception. It's always assumed that Square is only for that small merchant, that small mom and pop on the corner. That's the only people that we can talk to. But when we met with you last week, my gosh, you pretty much opened our eyes in regards to a lot of businesses that our agents should be talking to. So if you don't mind, just kind of share, thinking outside the box. Who are some of these businesses that we can actually take care of with Square?
Yeah, I love that question because I think, like I said, for the ones that have been in the payment space for quite some time, I personally have been around a little bit longer than Square has, so that ages me a little bit. But that being said, we all knew Square to come onto the market with this little card reader that was really set for the small, sole proprietor and entrepreneur that was looking to just kind of sell their small, the backstory actually on Square is Jim, who's one of the co-founders, was finding a way to sell his glass blowing art. And of course, he's buddies with Jack Dorsey and needed a way to accept payments. And that's actually how Square became Square today. That's how they started out 16 years ago. And it's evolved so much because it's a full ecosystem for restaurants, retail, service. If you're thinking about your landscapers or HVAC, salons, med spas, e-com, we compete with the I'm sorry, not Spotify, Shopify's in the world as well. And Stripe, if we look at larger opportunities or strategic partnerships, we have ISV relationships all over as well. Integrated, we have over, gosh, I can't even think of the exact number, but our marketplace is flooded with integrated partners that are already listed there. And there's some partners that aren't actually listed on that site today. And some of our partners are bringing them on today as well. So Square is not your little card reader that's just going to accept that small transaction and, run the $10,000 merchant. We have worked upmarket in building and scaling this technology to support everybody from, again, even payroll and banking. And we sit in fine dining restaurants, upmarket in retail businesses. So the world is your oyster.
Yeah. And I will say that, historically, for any business owner that wanted to sign up for Square, Square always made it easy. Just go to the Square website, enter some key information in, boom, you're up and running. And luckily, Square's been a great partner to us at PayCompass because now all of our agents have a unique link that they can use every single time that they're signing up their merchants. Let's talk about that process as far as getting them signed up. What are the things that, thinking back, my history in this industry for years, sign up a merchant. Okay, now you got to pick the equipment that you want to do. All right, now we got to do a file build. Now we have to ship it out. But you remove the friction. Now,
Correct.
all of our sales agents can sign somebody up today and they can start accepting payments now. You alluded to it a couple of times. You're like, hey, we're not that Square company where, you got that that card reader that you're plugging into your phone. Things are much different. So when we say that our merchants can start accepting payment today, what are we talking about? Are we talking about iPhones, Androids? Like, how are we doing that?
Yeah, I love that question too. I mean, it's Square is all about speed. That is one thing that I would say has stayed the same, but has obviously increased throughout the years as well, because ultimately anybody can go and just sign up via a Square website, create your, account with a unique email and password, and ultimately be up and running in a matter of 10 minutes to be able to accept payments. We don't have, the traditional kind of underwriting process where you have to go through and fill out a 4-page merchant application and provide your bank statements and all these other good things that you were traditionally used to asking for. Because Square is a PayFac, and we've also made the sign up process very easy. The seller goes through, uses a unique email address, signing up via your PayCompass IDV link, and it gets associated back to PayCompass in that manner. But that being said, once they actually enter in an email and a password, the system then and the algorithm then pushes that seller. We call them sellers here as opposed to merchants. um, it'll push that seller to go through the normal process of setting up their business, entering in tax information, verifying their banking information. And as soon as they're all done with that and has been verified as a seller that's turned on payments, which again can happen in less than 10 minutes, at that point, they can order hardware, and or if they don't need any hardware, they can just turn on pause on their phones today, whether it's an iPhone or an Android, and tap to pay. I can easily take my iPhone here, go up to Scott and say, you owed me $20 from lunch last week. I'm going to go ahead and take that back today.
I owe you 15, and don't tell that to everybody. Gosh. Now, what are the things that just for a lot of agents that have been doing this for a long time, stop and think about a sales agent. All the years where you got the headaches and the heartache and the heartburn when it came to the underwriting process. My train, let's talk about this a little bit because I mean, I've got it right up here in front of me. So when all of our sales agents are signing up a merchant,
Yeah.
there's no website policy review, not asking for bank statements or financials, no conditional approvals and things along those lines. You're making it almost a little too easy.
A little too easy is right. I mean, as long as you are entering in your information, or the seller is, I guess to say, entering in their business information as stated from their legal entity, then the system clears that very quickly and approves the deal. We do support kind of those larger e-com, or I guess to say, as we get into the higher risk businesses as well. In those experiences as well, I mean, we don't typically ask for that information up front. Now, we are all used to that kind of let's have bank statements, merchant statements, and so forth. That's great to have on hand still, because at some point it will flag, but ultimately we will approve the deal. And if there's no chargebacks, they're really good to process.
All right, and since I was kind of talking more about like, the physical transactions, hey, you can do it on an iPhone, and hey, you can do it on, an Android device. You said the word e-commerce. All right, so for all of our agents that are out there talking with the merchants, if the merchant is strictly e-com, is that a good opportunity?
Yes, absolutely. One of the great things about kind of the e-com world as well is whether you're a um, brick and mortar business or not, everybody today actually needs to kind of have their own branding. So no matter what setup you go through with Square, Square will always offer that ability to go ahead and create a branding for your business as well to stand up a website. So you don't need to go through, Wix or any other third party. You can easily stand up, Scott's retail clothing store, and he can have his own brand and everything already stood up with our Square free program as well. So it's really unique because we really offer a lot of tools that are essential for businesses to become, their own brand and go out there and market their business.
Yeah, and one of the things that we have been talking about here at Pay Compass over the past couple of weeks since we made the announcement on Square is that for those of us that have been doing this for a long time in the industry, it's a matter of changing our mindsets. Okay. I can tell you that looking at my colleague over here, Mr. Marshall, with his hip to be square background, he became a believer over the past couple of weeks. John, I'm going to kick it over to you in just about 2 seconds here. But what I want to do is I want to just kind of wrap things up, my trend, as far as making things simple for merchants that are signing up. So merchants can choose from one of three SaaS plans that fits their needs. They could do it independently without having to reach out to our sales agents just because it's kind of like that, lack of a better term, I guess a self-enrolled process based upon that unique square.paycompass link, correct?
They can, absolutely. I will say in the reseller distribution model, my best advice for any of the agents out there is though it is not your traditional 4 or 5 page electronic or paper application, you do want to treat this simple IDV link as a paper application still and sit with your customer, walk them through that process. It takes you less than 10 minutes. You can enroll them in the correct SaaS plan, get the right hardware ordered for them, and they're off to the races. So, as far as, kind of that normal come back, sign the deal, wait for it to get approved, then go get hardware, like all of those kind of few steps that you take over a few days, that minimizes in a matter of 10 minutes, but you do want to treat it like your traditional application. Otherwise, we just haven't seen much success with agents who are kind of just sending out the link and hoping and praying that their customer comes back and signs up. You're going to get probably about 20% of it done and then have no visibility as to if this customer is processing or not. And that's the name of the game, right? We don't want people signed up and not actually processing. So it helps you kind of see the plan through.
Yeah. And just one thing I want to make sure that I reiterate to you, the sales agent, because once again, my job is to set you up for success. And I want to make sure that we have the right expectations. A little bit later on in this call, when we bring Jeannie into the conversation, we're going to talk about the deal submissions. And let's make sure that all of you are getting it right the first time. Let's make sure that you're in constant contact with our support team, letting them know who it is that you signed up, providing them all that merchant information. So this way we can track it successfully and we can make sure that we get you, the sales agent, paid. Hey, John Marshall, you got that sassy background today, so I can't help it. I got a call on you just because you, sir, have switched teams over the past couple of weeks. John, knowing what you know now regarding Square SaaS plans versus Clover SaaS plans, what are your thoughts? Share it with the audience.
I'm actually going to reiterate a couple things my trend said, and maybe it sort of passed by you guys. And I asked her this the other day. You just heard it. Tap on glass for both iOS and Android, right? Tap on glass is the latest thing where you don't need card readers, and very few have Android support. This gives you that flexibility. The other thing she mentioned, which it always turns my head, right? Online store comes with the free plan.
Yes.
I'm going to say that again. That is amazing.
One more time,
Think about, again, I know we minimize the startup business questions, but right out of the gate, they can get their legs under them, get e-commerce going, and there's additional plans. But even with the additional plans, I want to make another call out. There is no additional fees or SaaS fees for additional hardware. Now,
What? One more
I'm gonna,
time, John. What?
there are not per device fees in Square's SaaS plans like my former, heartthrob, right? Which we won't name on the air. Now, I do want to make a carve out. I want to make a carve out for things like KDS and kiosk. There are some differences, but within the payment terminal, POS, iPad stands, all those things, you can do handhelds, pay at table all day long with everybody carrying one without an additional device fee. That's
Yes, we're going to be based on rooftop as opposed to per device. And so when you look at our competitors such as Toast or Clover, I'll just name them for you, John. Um, we really beat them in the SaaS cost, which allows you guys to continue to sell at rack rate in order to be profitable on the revenue, and then make that money. So it's really great.
Well, I'm going to make another little call out just to pick up on your coattails, right? Last June, Clover raised all the growth plans up around $90, and what they took away was remote printer support, online ordering, all those things that your Plus plan delivers at roughly half with
Mhm.
unlimited devices. That's a real game changer.
Yeah. Yeah, if we're on the topic of it, I mean, in our premium plans as well, one of the biggest value adds that Square has is the data that we collect on behalf of our sellers. So when, I don't know if I'm sure a lot of people on this call has experience where you've gone into a Square seller and all of a sudden, you get a receipt from the system and you didn't even put in your information or anything to this particular business, but it's because you opted in at some point to another Square seller that it's allowing that data to be shared amongst these Square sellers in order to, so your customer, the merchant, the seller, would then be able to utilize that data in order to market out to their customers. So if I know that John comes in here every Wednesday, he loves a burger and he loves a cold beer, I'm going to go ahead and send text message marketing out, marketing our new bacon burger, which I've heard he also really likes at this, cost of $10, what have you, and send him kind of the goodies in order to come back, right? So Square Premium also includes 2,500 text messages that will be included in marketing at that 149 rate, which is also unheard of because now, again, you have this other tool that's working for you and this engine that is bringing customers back or bringing new customers in.
Well, I think that's really interesting because it's not just a blind, non-targeted message, right? It has something that speaks to me,
Yes.
right? It's connected, it's individual, it's personalized. That's really a game changer.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that along with, just general loyalty, it's all included in our SaaS plan, which is, again, a huge value add and at such a crazy low cost. It's unbeatable.
So
And
just
one,
if everybody else hadn't thought of this or known, and you don't know this yet, but we have our own app called the Genie app, and it has hardware and software catalog. So for everybody on this call and those who are going to be listening in later, Square's hardware and software has all been added to the Genie app as of this morning. And also some of those great third-party app vertical integrations in the app marketplace are listed also down in the other software section. So while I'm on that subject, I also want to mention that Square hardware is very affordable.
extremely affordable. Since the word app has been used several times, and since we kind of alluded to, let's call it out, we talked about Clover. Historically, Clover has always had that app marketplace, we're setting up a Clover merchant, we're sending over to the App Store, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Agents, did you know Square has its own app marketplace too? And Maitreya, you had talked a little bit previously about some of the integrations that I can see right here. We're talking Wix, WooCommerce, DoorDash, MarketMan, Homebase, Tip House. I mean, the list goes on and on. And agents, watch the chat because right now I'm going to give you a link that goes directly to that Square app marketplace. Click the link, bookmark it, save it, because I'm going to tell you right now, our friends over here at Square, they are ahead of the curve and they're going to help to set you up for success. Since I
Yeah,
mentioned the app market,
before you go on,
no,
I want to
wait a
add to
second.
that.
No, wait a
Wait,
second. I
no,
was actually
one
going to
more
kick it over to
thing.
you. Oh, here we
One more
go.
thing. Speaking from experience, right? There's hundreds and hundreds of apps in the Clover app marketplace. Many of them have terrible reviews. Many of them are duplicates of the others. Many of them are feature specific. The one thing that really stands out to me in in the Square app marketplace is there are apps in there that address specific verticals, new
Mhm.
verticals. Think about bike rental companies. Think about there's a Barberly, barbershop app in there. And remember, Clover blocks medical MCCs from the app marketplace. Square doesn't. So there's clinic apps, management apps, dermatology, massage, gym membership, so many things and new avenues that this opens up for us.
All right. And to you, the sales agent, if you haven't noticed, I'm picking on John just a little bit today. Friends, I just have to share with you. This man and I have been friends for years now. This is the first time I have ever seen him this giddy over an offering. Like this man's personality has changed over the past couple of weeks to the point where I'm just like, oh my God, look at you, son. You,
I'm
you
going to have
came
to
around.
redecorate my green office to a
I
bright white
know.
office now.
You are. Good Lord. My trend, I'm going to kick it back over to you because we got some more stuff that we got to cover. Let's go back to that comment that you made about up to 2,500 text messages. Premium plan, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Another piece that we had talked about recently also, even in the free program, and I think we mentioned this towards the top of the call, but let's revisit this because I really want this one to resonate with our audience.
Yeah.
The ability to send invoices even on the free plan. Is that
Yeah.
real?
It's very real. So if you guys are, if anyone out there is still kind of maybe unsure if Square, the little card reader or setup is beyond, your what we considered a micro merchant, even in our free plans today, it offers an immense amount of features and tools that allows that one individual user, such as again, even your one man HVAC company or as odd as it sounds, music artists and creators that may have invoices to send to their publishers or whoever, right? Like it's kind of wild to think about what kind of businesses or sellers would be in this ecosystem, but they can have a Square free account, be able to send invoices, which we have templated invoices for you guys as well. So they don't have to worry about thinking about how to stand up their business. They can just pull the templates out there. All that documentation is there for them as well. If a chargeback did occur, we already have that on the back end in order to secure that transaction and fight that chargeback for them. I mean, the tools, in my opinion, are endless to help support the seller and protect the seller. That being said, again, it is included in free and in our setup itself. And so you can just use your phone or your computer and have a Square account and be off to the races.
So, my
All right.
trend, one thing we did talk about the other day, which I think is also important to share today, is tell me about how expensive the PCI compliant program is and the penalties for not being compliant. And I'm joking,
Well,
of course.
I'm going to start a fund that collects all the PCI compliance fees for all the sellers because Square does not charge any PCI compliance fees. As a PayFac, we actually take on that compliance process for each of our sellers. And so that alone, I know Clover and every other processor out there may have compliance fees anywhere between $30 to $50 a month in addition to the annual costs alone. And that alone, if we're talking about any sort of savings, that should really be the savings that you guys are talking about there, not the rate. Don't undercut your revenue. Focus on what's going to make it easier for them. They don't have to worry about getting their IT involved, which most of these small sellers are always wondering, like, well, how do I even answer these questions? Because it's very overwhelming. But yeah, they could completely forget about PCI compliance, completely forget about paying it. I say completely loosely because they should still be in compliant, right? But we're not going to gouge them on that pricing or require that they go through hours of SAQs in order to get compliant there.
And you're also, I think you said this, I just want to confirm, and also the annual recertification is no longer a thing.
Correct.
Right. So I think
Correct.
that is amazing.
The pain is gone.
and if you would also mention, right, and you do this because your devices are
They are PCI compliant.
and end-to-end encrypted, right?
Correct. And they're all manufactured by Square. So everything that Square does is definitely, I shouldn't say everything, majority of what we do is definitely going to be first party. So the hardware, software is all based on Square's engineering as well. And so, yeah, as a PayFac, that's all closed loop for you guys. And that just saves such a huge headache for each seller. You could, be saving them thousands of dollars with any other processor out there. And I'll tell you, however many sellers I've come across, that PCI compliance is just a pain. We all know that. I don't have to share that again.
That's a nice way to say it. That's a very nice way to say it.
All right. So we are coming up at the bottom of the hour, and let me just share this very quickly. Sales agent. The biggest reason why I'm excited about the fact that invoicing is included with a free plan. Come here. Let me talk to you real quick. How many times have you and I had conversations where you're like, hey, Scott, I got to set up this merchant with a payment terminal, but I also have to set them up with a virtual terminal. And oh my God, Scott, now you're telling me that there's going to be like a whole bunch of different SaaS fees because I got to set them up with a VT, but I also have to set them up with a payment device and everything else. Friends, we are streamlining this. I'm telling you right now, this is a huge game changer. And all of us from the administrative operational side, we want you to find success with Square ASAP, because I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to change the game. Now is a good time to jump into questions. And Jeannie, I'm going to ask you to come off mute because you're going to be a part of the questions. Mytrin, I've got questions for you as well. So let's jump right into these and let's see what's on everybody's mind. And let's take a look for the first one here. The fun part is reading through all the notes that are like, this person launched the note taker. This person launched the note taker. I finally got to the questions. I knew I would get to it eventually. All right, so the first question right out of the gate. What about high-risk businesses? Talking CBD, we're talking cigar shops, etc. What are our thoughts on that one, Mytran?
So Square doesn't have your traditional kind of underwriting process, as mentioned a little bit earlier there. There's no, prohibited list that is published or out there. Ultimately, you can, I mean, with CBD, I believe it's under point three is the threshold of THC, and they are good. They would apply for a CBD kind of approval if they are selling CBD once they're actually approved on their traditional account. Cigars, there's no issues with that. Peptides, I saw that question in here too, so I'll just go ahead and answer that. Peptides is one of those things where I have not seen a real, approval process or a successful account. I would say we can try it and ultimately see where that goes, but there is no true guideline on kind of a prohibited list around that, right? Like there's a few line items that I can think about, such as lottery, that are kind of a no-goes, but no news on peptides today. So we can definitely attempt it and see where that goes. The next question on here was dual pricing. We do not have dual pricing yet. That is on the roadmap, but I do not have a timeline on that today. We do kind of the either compliance surcharging, which is 30% across the US, I think it's 2.6 in Canada. And then anything above that 3% threshold will be considered non-compliant surcharge. And you obviously can list that however you choose to as a facility kind of cost that gets taxed onto each transaction.
Gonna be surcharge? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So it's gonna be surcharge?
I'm sorry?
Are we talking about for surcharge?
We do have compliant surcharge. It would be 3% in the US, and you would need to enable that on the point of sale.
Okay, but not cash discount.
Not true cash discounting. So I'm sorry, cash discount is available, which is the 4% IDV link. I believe that Jenny will go over here in a bit. But it's not going to be your traditional dual pricing where you see a cash price and a credit card price, right? It's going to be
Yeah.
kind of the workaround of cash discounting there.
Okay, got it. Thank
Yeah, you're welcome.
And for the most part, everybody, just know that with this partnership that we have with Square, we've been working really hard on the back end as far as getting content created. So when it comes to those questions in regards to the pricing, cash discounting, card present, card not present, I can assure you right now, if you reach out to your RSD, if you reach out to our support team in Tempe, everybody's got the same information right in front of them. We are here to help you to find success quickly. This is a great question in the chat. So you had kind of alluded to like the free plan, and then we had talked about that premium plan. Could you just, on a very high level, Maitran, could you just kind of talk through those three plans in regards to what a merchant could get depending on which one they sign up for?
Oh, that is actually that's tough to do at a high level. So I actually did put in the chat here our pricing plans, and it gives you guys a bucket. So overall, we don't have a the way that our plans work, it's more all of an all-inclusive type of plan, no matter what kind of industry you're setting up. But if you go into that link itself and then click on whether it's services or food and beverage or retail and kind of hit all those little plus buttons out, it'll tell you specifically what kind of features are involved with that plan. And so that you and your seller can be more familiar with what is the appropriate plan based on their business and kind of the features that they need. So an example would be the free plan does come with that online branding for you. However, if you're looking to now then sell online and or have online ordering done, you would need to upgrade into the plus or premium plan at that point to kind of turn on those ordering features for your online branding account. Does that make sense?
Yep. I thought that was a really good overview. And the fact that you provided the link into the chat so everybody can access it just makes it even better. This question may wind up going to Jeannie. So Jeannie, I saw you pop on camera just a little bit over here, my friend. So let me get this one thrown out there. So either Maitran or Jeannie, if either one of you can take this question, that would be fantastic. The question from the sales agent: who would we reach out to if a merchant is flagged and there are funds held or shut down? If funds are held or shut down due to, what can we do to get them back up again in a timely fashion? So Jeannie or Maitran, whichever one of you wants to take that one, please come off mute and take that one, please.
Jeannie, if
My-
you like, yeah, if you want to kind of answer from the internal process and then kind of how I could take over from where you and I get involved with that.
So as far as you were talking about, my apologies, the changing the pricing?
No, risk and
No,
funds
if a
being held.
merchant is flagged and their funds are held or shut down, what can we do to get them back up in a timely fashion?
Got it. So for internal, what you're going to want to do is email sales@paycompass.com. Let us know the merchant. What we're going to need to know is the email as well as the DBA name and what funds have been held. And then that allows us to reach out to Maitran and her team on the back end.
Once I get notified from Jeannie on that, if you guys have done your due diligence in vetting out the business, and I better understand kind of where this is coming from, if you guys are also providing anything such as bank statements, existing merchant statements, invoices, anything like that to kind of clear that manner. If you guys are providing that to the appropriate email with Jenny's team, she'll send that over to me, and I will tell you guys that the experience dealing with risk here at Square has been extremely pleasant in all the years I have been in payment space. And that is actually the oddest thing I'm sure you guys will probably hear coming out of this call, because, in this market, we've all heard that there's no customer service, Square holds their funds and they'll never get it back and never could talk to anybody. The great thing about our unique distribution channel is that there are layers that are involved in this process, such as you guys being the agent vetting out the business, and then also from a corporate standpoint at Pay Compass, and myself as a partner manager, I'm able to then communicate with my risk team. If this is a valid, reputable seller, we can provide that information up front and clear that. And I will tell you, I have had funds cleared, accounts reactivated in less than 2 hours, which is unheard of in this industry. I've never, in my experience, I've had some very nice underwriters come my way, but not traditionally in a fast manner. And so, for the most part, the experience has been extremely positive. Now, the only caveat I will say to that is, again, if your customer has many, many chargebacks, we can provide as much information as possible, but unfortunately that decision will then obviously be made up with risk at that point, and we will communicate what we can in those cases. So if they're a reputable seller, we can absolutely step in and help you with that.
Excellent. Carol Steen, I see your hand is up. Give me a quick hit. What do you got for a question? And then I got more questions in the chat. What do you got, my friend? If you're talking, you're on mute, my friend. Yes,
Yeah.
no.
Okay, sorry
There you
about
are.
that. I do have a pricing question, but it has nothing to do with Pay Compass. I just sold one of these, and when we went into the Square site, I found myself trying to decide if Best Buy or Sam's or Square was. It was a little cumbersome trying to see who had what and what the pricing was. And then we finally found the bundle, and we wanted one piece but not another piece. Is there any flexibility with Square on what comes in a bundle, or not so much?
I mean, if it's a bundle, it's a bundle. It's wrapped up in that bundle. You're not going to be able to unbundle it to say, but I will suggest that you go onto our Square hardware site and look at all of the different unique hardware that we do offer and sell directly. In the cases where you can pick up from any of our retailers itself, they are just going to have kind of the standard traditional kind of hardware, such as the Square Station. Outside of that, if you guys are looking to purchase like a larger, set of hardware, handheld, and unique things like printers and XYZ, it's best to just order it to get shipped to from Square to the seller, and then the shipping option does allow for financing as well if that seller is eligible.
Perfect. Well, I did notice that the retail big boxes, they don't let you have the Gen 2, just the Gen 1. So I've learned all this
Correct.
last week. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
There,
agree. I wanted to make sure you felt Square was the right place to come for equipment.
100%. They're going to be limited on certain hardware. And so it's just more of like, I guess if you were to look at it like, if it's a smaller seller that needs that one piece of hardware to kind of get going, and they just need that there, they want to get it quick in the same day, that's where you might want to lean on the retailer side. But if this is like a full service restaurant and you guys are doing multiple hardware and so forth, it is best to have that ordered by Square. And also, that being said, the warranty and kind of the exchange program through Square is handled directly through us in those cases as well.
Thank you.
My Trent, can you touch on what the warranty is while we're on that topic?
Yeah, well, each hardware does have a little bit different of a warranty, so I can't speak too broadly on that, but I would say majority of it is about a year on warranty, I believe, and then you have up to 30 days to return any hardware if that customer just changes their mind. So that's how that would work. It does state that in the hardware portion. So I'll go ahead and put that in the chat for you guys as well. As you are, hovering over certain hardware and checking out, it'll disclose that for you and all the specs.
Excellent. All right. So having looked through some of the remaining questions that we have here in the chat, This is where the conversation is going to pivot. And Jeannie, this is where I'm going to bring you in. You're going to address some of these questions because this was content that you and I were planning on covering today. Anyways, John Marshall, I'm going to kick this one over to you first, and then Jeannie, I'm going to bring you right in. John, based upon some of the your work that you've already done behind the scenes, when it comes to a full service restaurant, modifiers, menu builds, where are we at with that as far as Square goes, my friend?
Well, I'm actually going to lean on my trend for that because I think you offer that as a upgrade service. Is that correct?
Yeah, so for full service, today we are actually releasing an additional kind of modifiers. There's a workaround on modifiers today, but we are officially releasing a feature that kind of allows you to modify a modifier here soon. It should be released in the next 30, 60 days, so stay tuned on our features log.
No, but for actually a full menu build, though, if a seller wants to hire you, what does
Oh,
that look like? And you offer that service, correct?
yes. So for a full service kind of implementation or what we would call as like professional services, we do have a team called a GSO team. It stands for Global Sales Onboarding. You can definitely lean on the team for any of the smaller tasks. What we consider as a task is like uploading a menu, gift card, migration, retail, inventory. Those are kind of the main ones that get used. That's a quick task that can be done behind the scenes with our team, and the cost does push over to the seller. We do not have a way to actually bill, you as an agent or pay Compass at this time. So ultimately, if that is something, the pricing is included in the U.S. seller cheat sheet. Jeannie, I don't know where that might be stored internally for you guys, but that third page under our SaaS services will have all of the plans. But it goes as small as a task plan all the way up to a full blown, you could do a remote um, service that will give you, up to, I think, 2 locations that would be serviced, and our remote GSO team will go in and build and set up and scale the account for you. Or you could even pay a little bit more and do an on-site, and we'll have a third party come out there and do the full installation. So definitely, if needed, you can call on that and work with the partner managers, and we'll get that ordered for you guys.
Excellent. Thank you, my friend. It's amazing how sometimes when I pay attention to the chat, people are like, "Dude, I sent you a private question." I go, "Oh, let me get that real quick." So there we go. Jeannie, this is the part where we're going to bring it over to you, my friend, because some of these questions tie right into everything that you wanted to cover today. Jeannie, look at this question right here in the chat, and come on. You guys keep adding more questions and my stuff keeps moving up. Shh, you got to slow it down a little bit. Jeannie, here's the question. So, if a merchant has been with Square in the past but no longer uses it, how long do we have to wait as far as that duration goes to get them signed back up? This was something you wanted to talk about today. So look at that. It's right in the chat, Jeannie.
Absolutely is. And my Tran, I'm going to tag team this one with you. So, overarching, we are not cannibalizing Square's existing base. If the merchant is already using Square, they are already using Square. This is not an open invitation to say, hey, now you need to sign up with us. We're not doing that. Now, for as far as the question of, oh, well, they used Square in the past and then they moved on to something else, and now you want to bring them back to Square. While there's not an exact time frame on that, honestly, my Tran, what are your thoughts? Because I'm like, if you've signed up with Square, 6 years ago, you forgot you had an account, you've been using, I don't know, Future POS or something like that for the last 5 or 6 years. Now one of our agents walks in and they're like, hey, you actually really should go back to Square. Here's why. In that case, I feel like we'd be able to do it.
These are great questions. And I'll say again, yeah, definitely the focus is net new businesses. But in reality, there are a lot of businesses out there that had set up a Square account at one time in their life, probably just as a failover, or the fact that it was free and they wanted to have a card reader for their farmer's market or whatever else, right? In those scenarios, I mean, those accounts may be activated or deactivated. If you want credit for those opportunities, you would need to work with that seller on bringing over true volume under the IDV with Pay Compass. And what I mean by that is here's a very unique scenario. Jenny has a full on restaurant, but it's processing with Clover today. She actually has Square for her invoices for the catering side of her business. And that's only roughly doing $10,000 a year or some sort. But she has Clover statements here showing that she does about $80,000 a month with Clover, and you're going to bring that business over to Square. Then we'll work together on what the right procedure is to ensure that you guys are able to win and capture that business and bring over true net new business, as opposed to just, hey, they want to switch to 4% and get another hardware. Can I have that? No, that is unfortunately not a true upgrade. That is something that would be a direct sales process for that existing seller. Does that kind of clear up a good example of what would be something that we can move forward with on existings?
I think it does. And I know one other thing that's going to come up, so we'll chat in on that. Add locations. So,
There we
folks,
go.
it's come up a couple times today included. Oh, well, this merchant wants to open up a new location. Can I have the Square on that? Well, let's think about this for a minute. So if I have one location and I'm using Square, and let's say I'm a bakery, I have all my inventory, I have everything that I do in location number one. I'm going to open up a second location, but you as the agent want me to sign up my Square with you. What that means is now, as the merchant, as the seller, I have to now come up with a new email address so I can give you the business. This also means my existing business is not tied to my second location now. My inventory is separate. All my data is separate. My customer database is separate. So if I have recurring customers at location number one, and I know when John comes in, he likes cookies and a black coffee. And when Scott comes in, he likes a blueberry muffin and a mocha latte. I'm not going to know that at my second location. So you're not actually doing that seller a service by trying to take that second location. My trend, did I miss anything with that?
I mean, you're spot on with that, but I definitely would say I still encourage if you guys can win the relationship on that second location and build a future relationship with them for future businesses. Absolutely. If as long as they understand that that data is not being shared as a, same location kind of ordeal, I see it as an opportunity. Just again, if I were in your shoes, I would win that second location and potentially their future businesses, but make it very clear that that's not going to be an add-on to their existing Square services today.
All right, Jeannie, I'm going to keep this going right over to you because this was another piece that you couldn't wait to share with everybody today. This is a great question. So, hey, is there a demo available for presentations and learning and testing? Jeannie, is there? How would an agent do this? My gosh, I'll bet you have it right on the tip of your tongue. What do you think?
Awesome. You take that same link that you have gotten from us, whether it's the rack rate or the cash discount 4%, doesn't really matter. Sign up for a Square account. Go through the process yourself. After you're done, what you need to do is send an email to sales@paycompass.com. We need to know the email you used, your DBA name, and that it is going to be your personal demo account. At that point, on the back end, we are able to turn off billing for that account. So I do encourage you to set up your own Square account. I do encourage you to go with the higher plan because we are going to turn off billing for it. That way you have the ability to go in and play with it yourself. We've had a blast on the sales ops team going in and adding products to our demo account and scanning things and figuring out how to put in discounts. So I definitely encourage all of you to do that. Just please make sure you let my team know, because if not, you're billed for it.
Yeah, so keep
Yeah,
that in
that
mind,
that
sales.
gives you guys a. Oh,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
Scott.
Nope, go ahead.
I wanted to share that gives you guys the process and experience of what a seller goes through when signing up, right? Again, I have to beat this to death and say you should sit with the seller as if it was a paper application and go through the sign up with them on every single deal. If you send them a link and say, hey, they said they're going to sign up today. There's a lot of blind spots of that and what they're actually completing or not. But additionally to the demo question, my product specialist team here will support the higher, the upmarket sellers. So sellers that are processing $1 million in GPV annually or above, we will absolutely host the demo for you. We ask that you just do a full discovery in giving us a lay of the land of the business, what they have today, pain points, all that good stuff. There is a demo request form that Jeannie should have in order to share with you all. And it typically takes us, 3 business days or so to schedule that. And they'll take over kind of showcasing all the technology and specs around Square for you. They just asked that obviously from a sales standpoint, you're obviously involved in that conversation, but product related, they'll showcase every feature for you if it's a upmarket seller there. So lean on our teams for that for sure.
Excellent. All right. And everybody, I just want to make sure that I reiterate what Jeannie shared with you as far as having your own demo account. And to my trans point, go through the process. I went through the process. John went through the process. All of us internally went through the process so that we can have a better understanding of it. Create your own account. Send that email over to sales@paycompass.com. Ask them, please set up my account for a demo account. Make sure you provide the DBA name that you use. Just provide all that information. They will get it set up for you. Jeannie, since we're talking about sending emails over to sales@paycompass.com, our sales agent should be adding our support team to every single merchant that they signed up, correct? Let's talk through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So then you need to add Pay Compass support as a team member to every one of your merchants' accounts that you sign up. Now, the reason for that is so our team can actually talk to Square support team on that seller's behalf. So this is to drive home my trans point of another reason you should be sitting with your merchant to fill out the sign up form. When you're done filling out the sign up form, go in right there and add support. There is a toggle that you have to turn on that says that our support team is allowed to talk to Square's support team on your behalf. That needs to be there. So if you do have any issues, you can call our support team and Jathan and his team will assist to the best of their ability. If it is something that goes above and beyond and we need to access Square directly, we need them to be listed as a team member on that account with the permissions to call Square on their behalf.
Yeah. And to you, the sales agent, just so we can make sure that we're setting you up for success with every single account that you're signing up, let's make this really clear with you. So this way you've got the right expectations. You're going to reach out to sales@paycompass.com once you get an account signed up. Okay. You sign up a merchant, get that information sent over to sales@paycompass.com so they can help you. Get the support team added as well. And you're going to reach out to that same email address when you create an account for yourself, and our sales ops team can help set it up for you so that you can have your own demo account. We are coming up at the top of the hour. I still got more questions to go. Jeannie, I know there was some other stuff that you wanted to make sure that we covered with all of our audience members on here today. Just going through this very quickly over here on my end. When it comes to ordering equipment, this is something that the merchant is going to be doing on their end. Correct, Jeannie?
The merchant's going to want to sign in and order directly through Square. I know Caroline brought up going to Sam's Club, Best Buy, things like that, which you can do. But your best bet is probably going to be to just order through the Square website.
Excellent. Jeannie, was there anything else that you wanted to hit upon? Just because I know that you and your team have been taking a ton of inquiries over the past couple of weeks. What else have I missed here? Is there anything else that you want to get top of mind so everybody has the same answer at the same time? What would you say?
I think we're covering pretty much all of it. Making sure you're sitting with your merchant while you're filling out that form, making sure you're helping them go through the ordering process for the equipment, adding support as a team member. The other thing I guess we'll drive home one more time is to every time you are sitting with a merchant, sign them up for a Square account. You need to notify sales again with the email address that merchant is using and their DBA. Why? Again, because everything is going under one Pay Compass account. If you do not tell our team that it is your merchant, we do not know to pay you. So please let us know when you're signing up a merchant for Square so we can properly pay you.
Excellent. And friends, I'm just going to ask you to be a little bit patient. Stick around for just a few more minutes. Let's get the rest of your questions taken care of, and then we're going to dismiss. And by the way, Mytran, you may not be aware of this, but myself, John, and Jeannie had a conversation yesterday. Did you know we're bringing you back for Square Part 2? Did you know that?
I had a feeling, so I'm here for it.
Yeah. We knew for a fact that we wanted to come into today just to try to present the very basic fundamentals so everybody can find success. But I'm going to tell you right now, we're already looking at the month of June and we're going, hey, we're probably going to have a sequel to that first one that we did, if you're cool with that.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys let me
Excellent.
know and I'll be there.
Excellent. Let's dive into the remaining questions and then we're going to wrap, friends. Okay. Uh, Products, or I guess we can call them product add-ons, Square Payroll, Square Banking, etc. For our sales agents, is this commissionable? And I'm not really sure if this is the right avenue to explore this or not, but it's in the chat.
I would, it is not included in any revenue today, but I will say the payroll and banking through Square is extremely underrated. I definitely will say on part two, I want to hit home with that because with our Square banking program itself, it allows each seller to get instant funding. And by instant, I mean literally instant funding on weekends, holidays. That is just unheard of as well. And we're not just, we're payroll is very comparative to ADP or any of the other payroll companies. The only exception outside of that is going to be workman's comp is what we don't offer through that. But this is all first party, allowing your sellers to get their money as soon as they would like. And outside of that, next day funding for external bank accounts is going to be 8 p.m. Eastern cutoff time. So I see these as tools to win the deal as opposed to anything else.
Excellent. All right, this question is in the chat. I'm going to throw this out there.
For Square banking account, correct. Sorry, Scott. Wanted to
No
clarify
worries.
that. If they have a Square banking account, there is zero fee to get instant funding. Correct.
Excellent. I'm going to throw this question out there as a jump ball. If anyone of my panelists can answer this question, just feel free to just come off mute and just answer this one. Square's website shares the cost of Square fees and custom pricing for larger merchants. How are we handling, come on, how are we handling our pricing and potential custom pricing?
I love that question, and I'll take that, Scott. I mean, I
Okay.
will tell you guys, we launched this program over a year ago with 12 original partners. Now we have over, I think, close to 150 partners or so on board. Maybe a little less than that, but we're trying to keep this really small and mighty. I'll tell you, the partners that are winning are going out at rack rate or 4%. They're not kind of in that race to the bottom price model. We mentioned at the very beginning of this call, Square is a tech company. The value that Square has to offer in all of our ecosystem, including instant funding, including payroll, including, all these different features that our competitors don't offer under one rooftop is way more valuable than for you guys to kind of go down the whole rabbit hole of having a conversation about negotiating rates. This conversation should really be about the value of what the technology can offer, and rates shouldn't even come up in the conversation. And again, I will say 87% of our deals are written at rack or 4% today. So it's very, very rare that we're going to get into this back and forth negotiation over pennies or just to make the number look prettier on paper. It's just
Can you guys
sales
still,
experience for you as an agent, or kind of seen that experience over the past year or so.
I was going to say, I don't know if am I losing internet on my end? Anybody?
No, you were
Was
fine.
everybody?
Okay. I just noticed it
I
kind
don't
of
know if
glitched
any
a
of
little.
that came through, but
And,
that
my trend,
definitely.
just to pick up on what you just said, thinking about the Clover space and the Toast space, it's almost like death by a thousand cuts when you start adding on features you need at additional, fees with unrelated support help. I mean, it gets crazy. So I agree with you. I think the feature set is really knockout in whichever of the tiers, happens to suit you.
Yep.
All right. I see 3 more questions that I want to get addressed. Scale integrations, where are we at with that?
We do have a few scales that are integrated today. I think it's upwards of only can handle up to like 30 or 40 pounds or so, for the retail side. So that's under the hardware portion as well, and that's listed there.
Okay. Uh, okay, competitive question. How does Square's product fit into pizza delivery restaurant that is currently using Toast and their delivery system? What would you say to that?
That's honestly, we are not ready for delivery services in-house kind of situation there. So pizza in-house delivery is not a strong suit today, but it is features that we're working on.
So I will counter you and say I saw DeliverAct was on your integrations partner and they can fit that space today.
Yeah, not first party.
Yep.
So that would be a third party product. Yep.
Last question. How many revisions can we get when Square builds the menu?
You have up to 7 days to make revisions, and then they'll close it out. So as many as you need to during the 7 day period after they've completed the initial.
Excellent. All right. Looks like I've got all of the questions in the chat. So sales agent, hey, you know what to do. This is the part you come off mute. Let's get your final questions out there and let's get this wrapped up and wish you a happy Cinco de Mayo. Come off mute. What do you have for final questions, friends?
I have a question for you real quick. Is there a number or any sort of contact in if I've got really high risk potential merchants that I've got more complex questions about than I want to waste everybody else's time with here today?
Greg, that might be something where you and I set up a call with Mytran. I think I know where you're going with that. I think the two of us could, oh my gosh, words, connect with her offline.
Phone call. Phone call. We make phone call. Yes.
We make phone call. Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Greg. All right, sales agents, come on. I know you got questions. Come off mute. Let's get you taken care of.
Do we want to reiterate that the client or merchant has to use our link to sign up where it goes? We don't know about it. We don't get credit for it. It's just directly Square. So we need to get them to sign up on our link, right?
That is correct. Yes. You need to use the unique Pay Compass IDV link. That is the only way that revenue and attribution will all kind of go back to you guys there. If they go and sign up directly with Square, it is a direct Square account.
Which is another reason we should be sitting with them when they did that.
Girl, you hit it on the head. Good job. Yes, absolutely.
Well, and
I have a question.
I'm going to mention one more thing Jeannie mentioned earlier, and that is also, Carol, be sure to send sales@paycompass.com that name and the business so that you can get credit for that, not just Pay Compass.
Right.
Yes.
And to make sure that they add us as a team member so Pay Compass support can help them once we get them set up.
Correct.
Wouldn't it be a decent idea to just use your own iPad while you're sitting with them and sign them up? Is there any downside or discouragement on that?
The only downside on that is it could link to kind of your old, sign-ins or anything like that. So if you had multiple, customers kind of, on that, I could see like a cookie and a cache thing being an issue. So if you want to maybe just, I guess, clear that, prior, then I don't see why not. But yeah, just keep in mind that obviously this is a unique URL that you're using as opposed to a portal to do the application. So cookies and cache could definitely become a thing if there's multiple signups and depending on what that looks like on your computer.
One thing that I've been suggesting that agents do for that is to open an incognito browser and use the link through the incognito browser every time you're signing up a merchant. That way you don't have to worry about clearing cache and cookies and history and all that kind of fun stuff.
Brilliant.
And who uses cache anymore, right? I had to throw that out.
Hey guys, I had a question regarding rates, the advertised rack rate. Should that ever change Obviously we've seen changes over the years with Square's advertised rate. If that changes from Square, how does that affect our accounts that we signed at a specific rate?
I don't see that being changed in the sense of I guess existing sellers being affected by that. I don't have an answer because that's not a traditional thing that Square does. Most processors are kind of bringing in the sellers at a initial rate and then kind of doing a book change, but that's not something that is traditional. If it does, you know, make any changes. For example, we had our plans and pricing just recently changed in November, where we did the kind of free plus and premium plans, and each of those plans have their own unique rack rate associated to that. We didn't go back and change every seller to those new rates. The seller that has whatever rates they had just kind of stuck with that. So if that ever is the case, we will definitely be communicating with Pay Compass on what that looks like if that ever occurs. But I can't foresee that happening.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Matran. All right, sales agents, we went a little bit long, but I'm going to make the offer one more time to everybody. If you have any other questions while you've got our guest panelist on the call, now is your time to come off mute. Let's get your question out there. Otherwise, we're going to get ready to wrap up.
Sorry, real quick question. I heard the rack rate, and then you said rack rate was the most popular, and then 4%. So what's the mechanics and how that works on the 4%? I kind of assume cash discounting program. How does that work on the machine?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when you guys do decipher, obviously, the right plans with your sellers and sit and go through the sign up process, definitely make sure that you either have your rack rate IDV link or the 4% IDV link, depending on what you guys have clearly, agreed with the seller on. Once that is the case, if they are doing the 4% kind of cash discounting program, we do have some screenshots that Jeannie, you should have that. I don't know where you put that internally, but some screenshots to kind of help you guys understand where you would need to go into the point of sale to program that. I will call this out right now. It is not automatic. It is a button that you would have to create onto the point of sale, either as a facility fee or a 4% cash discount fee or Jeannie's beer fund fee, whatever you want to name it. You would then create that on the point of sale, and it is not automatic today.
So keep in mind, guys, true cash discounting.
All right, looks like we have one last question, and then we're going to wrap, friends, because it's almost Wednesday. All right, this is the final question right here. One last question. Can we get a list of the ISOs that have resell Square? This could be a competitive advantage. I would say definitely work with Jeannie and her team to see if something like that is available. Okay. All right, and we've
I
pretty
don't
much
have any
answered.
list of other ISOs.
Yeah, exactly. Friends, we went a little bit long. We knew it was going to happen, but you know what? We love you. We want to say thank you so much for sticking with us right to the very end. This is quite possibly one of the most exciting announcements that we've made here at Pay Compass in the 6 years the company's been around. But there's more to come. I mean, we got a lot more products, a lot more offerings that you guys are going to be selling in 2026 going into 2027. But this is the one that kicked it all off. This announcement with Square, the success all of you are having. My Tran, I've already asked, but I'm pretty much going to ask a second time. Borderline beg. Would you come back again next month, please, so that we can do a Square part 2?
I need that beer fund to start working its way up, okay, Scott, and that money you owe me for lunch. But yeah, I think I'll consider it.
I really wish we could have stopped the recording right there, that I still owe you money. We'll talk about that later offline, but no, we would love to have you come back again because, friends, we knew we were just going to scratch the surface today, but the key pieces we wanted to put out there: how to get you up and selling, who are some of these industries that you should be thinking about, what are some of the initial offerings that tie into Square. That invoicing piece, in my opinion, that's huge. That Square app marketplace, also huge. So let's wrap this up so it's not a 2-hour recording on YouTube. And to you, the sales agent, thank you for joining. But let's give some love to our guest panelists that joined us from Square, Mytran. Thank you so much for making the time to join us here today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. And
We'll
to
see you
John
next time.
Marshall. Yeah, we'll see you next time. To John Marshall and Jeannie Golden Chapel, thank you for making the time as well to just kind of help our audience out. And audience, we'll see you all again next week, another Toolbox Tuesday. We're going to be talking to our friends at Corona POS. And until then, make it a fantastic day. Enjoy your week. And I look forward to seeing you again next week on Tuesday. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, guys.